All right, P1 is real numbers. All right, so the first problems, they want us to find the decimal form for the rational number and state whether it repeats or terminates. So number 2 is 15 divided by 99. So probably, I don't want you to solve it. Still haven't figured out how to turn that off.
3 over 33. 1 over 11. Oh my God.
So then I need it as a decimal.
1.0.
I don't think that was right, though. I think what Daniel said was right.
But 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 goes into 99. 5 over 33.
So I need that as a decimal. If you want to just grab your calculator and tell me what that decimal is. Because we need to know if it's a repeating decimal or if it terminates, meaning like it stops after some period of time. So it's 0.15 and it keeps going, so that means it is repeating.
Do you need to write repeating if you put the line over top of it?
Yes, because that's what they're actually asking you for.
Okay.
Uh, 4, 5 over 37. What is this one?
It's already 1.135.
So it's just 0.135.
So 0.135 repeating. So yes, the technical symbol for showing repeating is with the line over it, but we do need to write repeating because that's what they're asking us for. Describe and graph the interval of real numbers. So these are like graphing a number line, not like an actual coordinate graph. It's number 8. And they give it to you in a variety of forms. Some of them they give you an inequality, some of them they give you an interval, and some of them they give you like a verbal statement and you need to write it based on that. So number 8, they give us the closed interval -3 to 3. I'm not really worried about the describe part because drawing the graph is sufficient. So we need to draw a number line graph of what this looks like. Does anybody remember how to do this? Brackets doing what?
going towards each other.
Yep. So brackets going towards the middle. So it'll basically look just like when they give it to you as an interval, it literally looks just like what your interval looks like. How do I decide if it's brackets or parentheses?
What it gives you. Well, if it's less than, it's parentheses. If it's less than or equal to, it's a bracket.
Yep, so if it's or equal to, it's a bracket. If it's just less than, just greater than, it's parentheses. If it's an interval like this, then it's whatever the interval itself is how you would do it. Let's see, 10, they give us like a verbal statement. So we're going to have to rewrite it in terms of either as an inequality or an interval, depending on how they word it. And then we'll have to draw our number line. So x is greater than or equal to 2 and less than or equal to 6. So if I wanted to write this as an inequality, how would I write this?
You would do 2 less than or equal to, 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 6.
guess. All right, so then now I would do my number line. How's this one gonna look?
Bracket at the 2, bracket at the 6, and it's in between.
Which direction did you say it's going?
It's in the middle.
Yep.
So
So bracket here, and fill it in the middle. All right, the next ones, they're either going to give us a number line graph, an interval, or like a verbal statement, and they want us to write an inequality that fits that requirement. So 12, we have negative infinity to 4, and it's closed at 4. So if I want to write this as an inequality, how would I do that? What is an inequality going to look like?
is infinity always open?
X is
Yes, infinity's
less
always
than or
open.
equal to 4.
Yep. X is less than or equal to 4. Now, the other potential option that you could do, this is the way I would do it, and pretty much what you'll probably want to do, but the other option that will work, and the book will have both answers pretty much always listed, is you could do negative infinity less than x less than or equal to 4 to show that it's in that interval, but just writing x is less than or equal to 4 still shows that criteria as being met. All right, 14, they give us a number line on this one. So it goes out farther than what I'm going to do, but it basically, -3, anyways, okay. I'm not filling in all the numbers, but, and then it goes from, they have a bracket at -2 facing inwards to a parentheses at +2, and it is colored in the middle. So I need to write an inequality that demonstrates this. So what is that going to look like?
X, 2 is less than x is less than or equal to 2. The first one supposed to be negative, so.
Yeah, okay. That's why I was like processing what you were saying. I was like, are you going to tell me backwards? So -2 is less than or equal to x is just less than 2. So these ones were writing an inequality. The first ones were graphing. The next ones that we're about to do want us to write it using interval notation. So you got to really make sure you pay attention to the instructions, because out of this stuff in this section, this is probably the thing that's missed the most, is writing, like not paying attention to what the instructions are asking for and writing the wrong form. So just make sure you watch that. So 18 gives us -7 is less than x is less than -2. And I want it written as an interval. So what is that going to look like?
It would be parentheses 7, comma, parentheses 2.
-7.
Not parentheses, just.
Yeah, it is parentheses. Yep, so these ones are in parentheses. If they're or equal to's, they will be brackets. Obviously, they could also give you a number line. We've already done some of those. 22, x is positive. So what does that mean for the possible values of x?
Not negative.
Not negative, what else?
It means 0 to infinity.
Okay, are we including 0? No, because 0 is not positive or negative, but anything right after 0, like 0.00001, right, is going to be considered positive. So we have to do open parentheses, 0 to infinity, and infinities are always open. Any questions on any of that? All right. Convert to inequality notation. Find the endpoints and state whether the interval is bound or unbound in its type. So we have the interval -3 to -1 and it's open. So the first thing they want us to do is to rewrite it in inequality notation. So this is going to be -3 less than x less than -1. Then they want to know what my endpoints are. So the endpoints are going to be basically whatever's in your parentheses. It's going to be those numbers. Now, if infinity is in there, infinity is not an endpoint, right? Because there's technically no end to infinity. So you'd only include whatever the first one is. But in this case, my endpoints are going to be -3 and -1. And then based on what you have in your notes, do you think this is bounded or unbounded?
Bounded.
Why?
Because it's not infinity.
Yep. It is bounded. And then is this basically open or closed? Or I guess you could have half open, half closed, whatever. Huh? Open. So when it's asking you, it'll say, is it bounded or unbounded? And then it'll say in its type. That's where it's asking if it's open or, I don't even remember what all the options are off the top of my head. Open, closed. We do have half open, half closed. Or I guess not half closed. Half open in just two forms. But that has to be a number on each end for it to be that way. Not like infinity. Okay. 32, same instructions here. So 32, we've got bracket -6 to infinity. And that's got a parentheses on it. So how would I write this in inequality notation?
X, I mean, 6 is less than or equal to x is less than infinity.
Yep. If you also wanted to do it as x is greater than or equal to -6, that would also be acceptable. But either way is fine. What about endpoints on this one?
-6 and infinity.
You sure?
No, it's just -6.
Yep. So infinity can't be an endpoint, so we just would have -6 on this one. Is this one bounded or unbounded? Unbounded because we have infinity. And open or closed?
Half open.
Nope.
It's just closed.
Closed. So if we have infinity, it would still be considered as closed. If it was like -6 and then say that infinity instead was an 8, then it would be half open. So it has to be like a number that we can actually like process, not
What does
infinity.
the open and closed mean?
It's just the type of interval. So this is closed on this side and open on this side. But technically it's infinity, so it just goes on forever. So that one's considered closed because the end that has like an actual endpoint is closed off. Does that make sense? Okay.
So is the distance between like -6 and infinity different from the distance from -infinity all the way to infinity?
What? Say that one more time.
Okay, is the distance from -6 to infinity a different distance from like -infinity all the way to infinity? Or is it the same?
Yes, because -6 is an ending.
But if it's infinity, then it's just like an infinite amount, right?
Well, yes, but
It would be infinite in both directions if you start.
but there's like a cap on the one. But yes, infinity goes on forever, so.
So is there a difference in the distance, or is there not?
There is no distance because it don't end.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you could argue that it's the same. But, do you have a question? Yes. I don't know. Ask your math uncle. He can probably tell you better than I can on that. Concept of things that like don't actually exist, just kind of still don't. Yeah. But I would argue that a -6 is shorter than negative infinity to infinity.
Or like, is the distance between -6 and infinity different from -7 to infinity?
Yes.
But why?
Definitely.
Because it's going farther in one direction.
But is it actually more?
Yes.
Or is it,
Yes.
can you really say it's longer if it's an infinite amount in one direction?
Yes, because it's not infinite in the other direction.
Okay, I don't understand. It's like,
Fortunately for this class, you don't have to understand that. All right, next thing. Use the distributive property to write the factored form or the expanded form of the expression. Okay, I was like, English is not it. Y minus z cubed is in parentheses, and then it's being multiplied by c. So they're just being annoying and putting the distributive on the right side instead of the left. But literally just distribute, so.
CY minus CZ cubed.
Yep. Nice and easy. 40 a cubed z plus a cubed w. So this one we need to work in the opposite direction. So the last one we distributed, this time we're factoring out the basically greatest common factor. So what are we taking out of this one?
A cubed.
Yep, a cubed, and then we're left with z plus w inside. Trust we're okay with that. All right, simplify the expression. Assume that the variables in the denominators are non-zero. So essentially we're just simplifying a fraction. 48 is in parentheses 3x squared. All of that is then squared times y to the 4th all over 3y squared. So what do my rules of exponents tell me that I need to do on top?
Multiply or exponent
3x to the 4th.
9x to the 4th.
No.
9x.
9.
Yeah, so each thing is going to get squared in here. So the 3 is getting squared, which gives me 9. Then I have x squared squared, which this is multiplication. So that's going to be x to the 4th. If you happen to add them, in this case, it still would have worked. But that's not the right rule. And then we've got the y to the 4th over 3y squared. So then now I need to move my y squared to the top. And then I can reduce the 9 and the 3. So I have 3x to the 4th. When we move it, remember we put it where it ain't changed the sign. So this would give us y squared up here. (52) in parentheses 4a cubed b over a squared b cubed, and then another parentheses 3b squared over 2a squared b to the 4th. So take a minute and do this one on your own, and then we'll go over it and see if we remember all of our rules of exponents. We have an answer yet? Are we stuck or are we close to being done?
I don't know where to start.
I got 6 over AB to the 4th.
Does we agree? So what I would do first is I would combine the top and then and like combine the bottom and then simplify from there. So I did the 4 times 3 to give me 12, and then I had a cubed, and then I did b times b squared to give me b cubed. And then on the bottom, I had 2 a squared times a squared is a to the 4th, and then b cubed times b to the 4th is b to the 7th. And then I moved the a cubed and the b cubed from the top to the bottom and subtracted the exponents to get 6 over a b to the 4th. All right, the last few things in this section are some just scientific notation review stuff for how we do that. So basically the first two problems the first problem they want us to write in scientific notation. The second one they want us to change it from scientific notation into like decimal form, meaning like either write out the really big number or write out the decimal. And then the last one will be combining using our rules of exponents. So 58 negative 0.0000000000000000000000000016. I tried to group them so it was a little easier
Yeah,
to.
who said there shouldn't be commas and decimals?
I agree. So scientific notation, we want to end up with our decimal over here. So there's one non-zero number before the decimal. And so I need to move the decimal over. I'm not going to draw all the little things, but how many?
19 times.
Yep, 19 times. So I'm going to have negative 1.6 times 10 raised to the, when I'm going this direction, which, do I have a positive or a negative exponent? Negative. Because negative is telling me that it's going to make a decimal number. So that would tell me when I'm undoing it, I'm moving it to the left. If it's positive, I'd move the decimal to the right. If you're in chemistry, you'll probably do a lot of this year.
Y'all have fun.
You're not taking chemistry?
We just got
What science are you taking?
Anatomy.
Oh.
Took the easy
The
one.
easy one.
I don't know.
I'd rather memorize stuff than do
But then
that.
when you take chemistry with
Yep. That's what she told me.
but when you take chemistry,
She
it's
was
not a
like,
really good teacher.
"Mom."
Until you have to memorize all 206 bones and all like 700 muscles and
You just have a certain number of science credits. You don't have to take that class.
More math.
fair enough. All right, 60s, the opposite direction. They give us 6.73 times 10 to the 11th. So this is a positive exponent, so that means I'm moving the decimal to the right to make a really big number. So we're moving this over 11 places, so basically 2 places and then 9 zeros. So 673, and I'm not going to count out all the zeros. You can count your own, but you need 9 zeros. And then it would be much appreciated when you write your answer, if this was a quiz or test question, to put commas in there so it's easier so I don't have to count every single zero.
Why didn't they just write out 673 billion? Why can't we just write the word?
Because everybody doesn't know all the words.
We should learn the words.
I think learning the words would be a lot easier than this.
Until you need it in a math problem, then words don't work very well.
Let's just don't do that.
Spell it out.
All right, combining things. they give us a problem that's written in scientific notation, but we need to simplify it and rewrite it into scientific notation. So we've got 3.7 times 10 to the negative 7 times 4.3 times 10 to the 6 over 2.5 times 10 to the 7th. So I think we may have done a couple of these last year, but I don't know that we spent a ton of time on it. But what I suggest doing when you're doing a problem like this is dealing with the scientific notation part by itself that has the exponents, and then dealing with the other numbers, because everything's being multiplied, so I have the freedom to move things around. So I would do 3.7 times 4.3, and then times, I would do 10 to the negative 7 times 10 to the 6 over 2.5 times 10 to the 7th. Now, obviously, you have your calculator in front of you, so you could justifiably do this that way as well. Last year, I didn't let you have a calculator for this. But remember, the only time we're allowed to have negative exponents on the top is in scientific notation. So if I end up with negative exponents, that's fine. That just tells me that it's moving to the left instead. So somebody multiply that 3.7, 4.3, and 2.5. Divide by 2.5. What?
15.1.
Divided by,
Did you divide it by 2.5?
Yeah.
Okay. So on top right now, I would have 10 to the negative 1 over this. What happens when I move this 10 to the 7th up here?
10 to the 6. 10
Nope.
to the negative 8.
Yep. So 10 to the negative 8. And then, Zach, did you do this, the dividing?
Almost.
Okay. Are you doing it by hand?
No.
Are you doing it by hand?
6.364.
6.3.
And so then that would be your final answer. If this came out to be something, like if, say, it wasn't divided by 2.5, we would need to move that decimal place over again and fix that. So that's incorrect scientific notation, but this one is done correctly. Yes, I'm about to assign the problems. All right, any questions about any of this? All right. I think you should have plenty of time to do this. You'll just have to do the next notes at home, but I'm pretty sure the next notes are way shorter than the last ones were. 1 through 21, every other odd. 29, 37, 39, 47, 51, 57, 61, and 63. Just as a refresher on every other odd, that would be 1, skip 3, 5, skip 7, 9, so on and so forth, all the way to 21.
What section is this? Something.
P.1. It's like page 9 or something.